All right, what's up, everyone? My name is Justin, and today we're going to be going over my net worth. I've been seeing a lot of YouTubers, a lot of video content creators posting their videos online of going through their net worth, going through their personal finance, their budgeting journeys, whether they're climbing out of debt or just funding their travel, their retirement. I think it's super awesome. And so this would be my contribution. I have a background. I have my undergrad in personal or in finance and business management. So I think it's super cool to see all these people doing this. I know, growing up, I've always been told that, oh, don't talk about money. Personal finance is super taboo. Don't talk about how much you make or how much you own, what you have. And for me personally, I disagree with that. I really like and appreciate financial literacy and financial transparency, which is why I'm doing this. If I see someone my age, making 3 times my money, or my income, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to them. I want to get to know them. Hey, what have you done? What do you do? What tips do you have for me so that I can, be in that situation, or vice versa. If there's someone my age or older than me that doesn't make as much money as me or doesn't have as much as I have, I want to, impart my wisdom. Be like, hey, maybe try this. Have you done this, etc. So I think it's super cool that a lot of these people, a lot of content creators are coming forward, going through their journey like this or documenting it. I think it's super cool. So that being said, here are my numbers. These are all of my raw numbers down to the cent to calculate my net worth. For those who don't know, your net worth is your total assets minus your total liabilities. So basically everything that you own minus everything that you owe. So for example, if you're 19 years old, you're going into college, let's say your parents were generous and bought you a $20,000 car, right? And you have $2,000 in your bank account, your total assets would be $22,000. But let's say you took out $30,000 for student loans. So it would be, the 20-some thousand dollars minus the $30,000 of student loans, and that would be your net worth. I guess a little bit about my background before we get into it. I graduated with my undergrad. I have a degree in finance / business management, financial planning. My career right now is a financial analyst, so I think it's super cool. That's partly why I'm contributing. Yeah, let's get going. First off, in terms of my checking account and just cash I have on hand, the number is $6,413.57. The number is pretty high. About half of that is my tax refund. So basically all of that is getting moved into my emergency fund. So next time I make a net worth video, you'll hopefully see that reflected there. I try to keep around $2,000 to $5,000 in my checking account. It's just what I'm comfortable with. Some people might say it's too high. I could be moving it, investing it, and I agree, but it's just what I'm used to. It's what I'm comfortable with. So that's the number for my cash and checking account. Next is my high yield savings account, which is currently acting as my emergency fund. Right now, there's $3,656.94. The number's pretty low. I had to take out about $5,000 of that for the earnest fee or the earnest money deposit for this house. So maybe I stretched a little, but I'm slowly working that back up. It'll basically double when I move over the money from the checking into this account. The next would be my home, this property. I bought this property back in January of 2025. I'm super fortunate for my family. I was able to go in 50-50 into this property. So I have 50% equity. My family member has the other 50%. So they were able to help me just get my foot in the door into home ownership. I know a lot of other people, may not have that opportunity. So I am really grateful. That being said, I am actually in the red. If you take the current home value minus my principal loan balance on the mortgage, my home equity is actually negative $892.42, which means after the last 14 payments, mortgage payments I've made, reducing that principal, the home has actually still fallen in price to that I am underwater on the property, $892.42. That sucks. I've been paying HOA, utilities, property tax, property insurance the last year and some change, and to see it being a negative number, absolutely sucks. But I'm in it for the long game. Real estate usually tends to appreciate, and even if it doesn't, as the month over month, year over year, I keep making the mortgage payments, knocking down the principal balance. I should be in positive equity pretty soon, unless the real estate market crashes. And if it does, that's fine. I don't plan to sell the house till decades in the future. So kind of like the S&P 500, the stock market, you hold on to it, and then you just hold, and it'll go up. Should, I hope. And next is my car. My car's fully paid off, and as of March, Kelley Blue Book's private party estimate is $24,690. Next would be my Vanguard. I have a brokerage account and a Roth IRA. In my brokerage account, I have $1,952 or $62.59. That's just my fun money. If I want to get a dabble into penny stocks or just make more speculative, more risky investments, that's kind of my fun money. If I lose it all, if it 100x's, it's the risk I'm willing to take. It's just kind of some fun money. And my next is my Roth IRA. For those who don't know what a Roth IRA is, it is a tax advantaged retirement account. So you can make contributions with your post-tax dollars. So if you get your paycheck, they'll make deductions, they'll tax you on that money, and then you can take that post-tax money and invest it into this Roth IRA. And then by the time you reach retirement, I think it's 59 and a half, you can start withdrawing everything tax-free. There's no long-term capital gains tax, no tax. It's completely tax-free. So it is a very, very good retirement account. If you're in the U.S., if you're located in the United States, I highly recommend opening one up. My balance currently is sitting at $41,644.56. But yeah, that's I'm not planning to touch that until retirement. So that is just the next nest egg that I'm growing. The next account is my Roth 401k. This is offered by my employer. That is currently sitting at $26,063.41. However, that is not my vested portion. To receive my full, an employer match, you contribute a certain percent, and your employer will match that percent. Sometimes it'll be vested immediately, sometimes it'll be a vesting schedule, and sometimes it'll be fully vested after a certain amount of years. And so that's the case for me. So of that 26,000 total balance, I'm only vested in $14,894 with 20 cents. That is the number. That is the number that I'm using for my net worth calculation. Since I haven't reached the full tenure yet with the company, I haven't received that full match. If I were to get laid off tomorrow, or if I were to quit tomorrow, something happened, I would only have that $14,894.20. So that's what I'm using. With that, my total net worth comes to $92,369.44. That's a pretty nice number. I'm pretty proud of it. I have friends that are my age some are doing significantly better than me, and some are doing significantly worse. But then again, it's not a comparison. It's not one who's better than the other. It's just we're all on the journey. That's just what I'm at. I know I didn't think this was that big of an issue, but a lot of the videos that I've been watching, they, are speculative, or not speculative. They're worried about putting their car or including your car in your net worth. I don't know. In the U.S., I absolutely think your car would be calculated in your net worth. People say, oh, it's a liability, it's not an asset. And it's kind of true. It is an asset. It's a depreciating asset. It will go down over time, but it is an asset. And sometimes for some people, it can be a negative asset, Like if you buy a brand new car for $30,000, you put zero down, you drive it right off the lot, it's worth 25 grand, right? So if a tree falls on it immediately, and the insurance will pay you out the 25 grand that it's worth, you pay that back to the car loan, you still have 5 grand that you have to come out of pocket. So that would be that one transaction reduced your net worth by 5 grand, but it is an asset nonetheless. I have a major in finance. If you can ask any, or in the United States, you can ask any CPA, CFA, CFP, all of them will say you include your car in your net worth. So that's what I did. That being said, yeah, that's my net worth, $92,369.44. For me personally, my next big milestone is obviously 6 digits. I'm going to try to get that as soon as possible. I should be able to do it by the end of the year, ideally sooner. But yeah, those are my numbers. Thanks everyone for listening. Let me know down below what you think. I know maybe some people would say diversify more, or start or get into a little more risky investments, maybe a little bit in crypto, but yeah, just let me know where you're at. I know some people will be doing a lot better, some people may not be so, but we're all on this journey together. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks.